Education, special board meeting, order, please. Can I get a roll call?
Ms. Cherney? Here. Ms. Constanza?
Here.
Mr. Podorczyk?
Here.
Ms. Jeannie?
Here.
Mr. Imonti?
Here.
Ms. Levy?
Here.
Ms. Tarnowski?
Here.
Ms. Washburn?
Here.
And Mr. Sarno?
Here.
All right, we have a quorum.
We need to do a flag salute real quick. Pledge allegiance.
One nation, under God, indivisible, liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. All right, so this portion of the meeting is just going to be the New Jersey School Board representatives here to do the board self-evaluation, and I will turn the floor over to Lori Banlow. Dr. Lori Banlow, I'm sorry.
Let me put this over here.
Okay. Testing. Okay. On behalf of the New Jersey School Board Association, we would like to thank the Barnegat School Board for the work that you're doing each and every day for the children in Barnegat. So thank you so much for your dedication. You don't get paid for this. You have full-time jobs, you have lives, and you take the time for the children in Barnegat. So kudos to each and every one of you. Thank you. My name is Dr. Lori Banlow. I am a former school superintendent in both New Jersey and New York, 39 years of experience as an educator. Best part was being a teacher. I'm proud to serve with you, and I've served with many wonderful school boards, so I'm hoping to support you in any way that I can. So this evening, our goal for tonight is to go through your board self-evaluation. And the goals will be to analyze specific categories, strengths and opportunities for growth, challenges and solutions, recommendations for tonight. So in your packet, if you take a look inside the packet, I just want to point out a few documents. The one thing I want you to pull out on the left-hand side is a bar graph. It'll say board self-evaluation, and you'll see some charts. So if you can pull that out, because we're going to focus on this piece first. And on the right-hand side, after we focus on the charts, we're going to focus on the actual written board self-evaluation together. So you can pull those out. The other items that are inside are just for you. There's a processing the board self-evaluation sheet that you can do on your own. You know, take a look at it. You're going to read through it and kind of digest it. And that's just for you for an exercise to kind of focus on the reflection of the entire Board of Education. In addition to the 12-month planning calendar, just in case you lost it or you can't find it on our new website. Those are the responsibilities of a board over the 12 months. Just as a reminder, I have that hanging in my office so I remember. And then also the Board of Education evaluation process calendar, which of course is, you know, for your school superintendent, his evaluation in addition to the board evaluation. So I thought that might be helpful. I know you have a strategic plan. That is fantastic. Not every district has it. I did put our brochure in there for the future. Your plan goes till 2027, right, Brian? I think that's okay. So that's terrific. But if you ever, you know, there's a lot of different consultants that do strategic planning. You don't have to go with school boards, but I put that in there if you ever wanted to consider us in the future. So those are the other things. So let's take a look first at the charts. So I'm going to walk you through it together. You'll see that the light gray is the value that all of you put on a particular topic as a whole. The dark black is how you actually evaluated yourself as a whole. So if you look at the chart on the very bottom of the graph, on the horizontal part of the graph, you'll see different categories, which you completed in your board self-evaluation. And thank you for doing that, because not every board does their self-evaluation. It's important to reflect on your work. So you'll see planning, policy, student achievement, finance, board operations. Those are your task areas. And then you're going to look at, board superintendent relations, board staff relationships, and board and community. Those are your relationships. And the board of self-evaluation is an evaluation just of the board, not of any personnel, and you guys did a great job. A lot of times boards will do this and they'll forget, and we have to have the attorney go in and redact several things, but you got the point, so you knew exactly what you were doing, so great job. When you look at the numbers, the number value on the vertical line, anything 3.0 or above shows New Jersey school boards that this is a very high-functioning board and that you're working together beautifully. You are going to see tremendous growth from last year, from your evaluation last year. So I'm going to tell you right now, right up front, you did an excellent job. You really have done an excellent job, so keep up the great work. So if you're looking at the first area, you can kind of look through and see how all of you valued many of the tasks, and you were a little rough on yourself in some areas as a whole. So you're continuing to push yourself, and overall, great work, all above 3.0 and higher. And we'll talk a little bit more specifically as we go through. On the second page of the chart, which is page 2 of 3, this is the dark black is how the board evaluated themselves, how you evaluated yourselves in a particular area, like planning. The light gray is how the individuals together as a group, how you individually rated yourself. So in some cases, for example, board performance, you rated yourselves very high. In some other cases with planning, or finance, which is very typical for finance because we're always learning. You kind of, were pushing yourselves a little bit and said, some of us need to learn a little bit more. We want to continue to stay up to date on all the different changes in financing for school and making sure that I can understand all the financial reports. So your score is very strong in finance, but this is one area where some individuals on the board are saying, you know what, I'd like to do more here. And that's perfect. On page 3 of 3, this chart is absolutely excellent. If you look at the light gray area in 2023, that is the board self-evaluation ratings in 2023. You must have done something incredibly amazing together over the past year because look at the scores that you have now. In every single area, you are well above 3.0. So I'm just want to say again, keep up the great work. Keep up the great work. All right. Now let's dig into the actual written part of the board self-evaluation, and that will be this page. Now the very first page is the value of each area, how you as a group value each of the areas. So every single one of these areas are 3.0 and up to 4.0. So the reason why you're saying, I want to continue to make sure I learn about finance is because you value that. You have a 4.0 there, and that's outstanding. So this page is just the value that the Barnegat Board of Education as a whole places on every area. So let's dig in. If we turn the page to page 2 of 18, so the top part, this is where we get to like the nuts and bolts. This is where we are actually looking at the ratings that you gave the board as a whole. So the top part in planning, we have a 3.8. That is excellent. So there's a lot of great planning that's going on here. You're noticing that a lot of the numbers, if you look at some of the numbers and how they're broken apart on the actual chart, when you see numbers start to spread out, that's where boards have to start to pay attention and say, hey, something's not exactly going on great here. There might be 1 or 2 board members that are really not, feeling good about how things are going. That did not happen with the Barnegat Board of Ed self-evaluation. All of you are sticking together, you're working together in unison, and many of your responses that you did on your own were all similar. So terrific. So the board clearly has become a fully functioning board. And that was a comment that was added on the evaluation in planning. So let's now take a look at the next page, which is page 3 of 18, policy. Policy is also a very big strength of your board, which is excellent because this is one of your main roles is policy and overseeing the what in the district while your superintendent talks about how we're going to do this. So excellent job here. A lot of comments in summary said that the board is continuously and constantly discussing and reviewing policies, both old and new, to make sure that they're current. And whether you use Strauss-Esme for your policies or New Jersey school boards, always continue to get that policy wellness check. It's included in whatever price you're paying for whatever group you're going with. So be sure that you're continuing to do those things, and I'm sure Brian's on top of that. Going to the next page, student achievement. This area is the greatest area of growth for you guys. This is fantastic. That's what we're here for, is student achievement. This is your why. Student achievement, student safety. In this area, there was a tremendous amount of growth. You'll notice that when you go back to look at the bar graph on your own later on tonight when you're falling asleep after the board meeting. So this is just terrific, terrific. One thing I wanted to point out in this area was, it just shows what a great teamwork. A lot of the comments that were made, for example, is constant communication between the board and the administration. That is key to making sure you're moving your district forward and meeting the goals of your strategic plan. So strength across the board, and educational decision-making is communication, working together. So that clearly was articulated. The next page, which would be page 7 of 18, is finance. Finance, you put a very high value on this, which of course is critically important. We can never have enough funding coming into our schools. We always want more, I know. But you really, really did a fantastic job. If you look on the very bottom, about you, the board member, that was the individual piece if you're looking at our finance part. There are a couple board members that say, I want to learn more. I want to make sure I'm staying up to date. That is something that I can help you with. I could work with your school business, with your school business administrator. We can get together, Catherine and I, and I can give you a presentation on the board's role in finance. And then if Catherine's open to it and Brian's open to it and Scott, we can tailor it specifically for your district. So that can happen at any time during the school year. If you want me to come in, I'd be happy to do that. I just did that the other night for another board. It's always a learning curve, and there's never a dumb question. We used to call it Budget 101 when we went through the budget process, because things are always changing. Sometimes it's hard to wrap your mind around some of those reports, and that's okay. You're not alone. You are not alone. And please ask those questions, and I'm sure your superintendent and business administrator would be happy to help you. So as I said, we will continue to discuss this if you want. I'd be happy to come in. And one of the comments I love, the board and administration are constantly discussing and evaluating all financial aspects of the district in the short term and the long term. And that really sums it up in this section. So now if you head to page 9 of 18, this is board operations. This is the nuts and bolts of the board. And here you have scored excellent, just extremely high. The overall scores ranged from 3.8, 3.8, 3.2. Just look carefully at any areas that might have some of the numbers spread across, where there might be one person who's feeling like, I need to know a little bit more about this. And that's great, because the honesty of filling out the evaluation is great. And be sure to read those comments later on. And then as a whole, as a board, as an individual, the same kind of thing. People are feeling very, very good about this area. So the average for the individual for overall was 3.7. That's just outstanding. And I have to tell you, I've done several board self-evaluations, and you made this really easy for me because you guys are working so great together. Board performance is our indicator number 6. This is page 11 of 18. In this area, board performance was great. Keep an eye out for items 2 on the very top where it says board performance about the board. Items 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Just keep a watch on that, because some of those numbers started to spread over to the right. It's just people that might just have some questions, some things that they want the board as a whole to think about. Still scored beautifully. There was one comment I did want to share with you. If you would like, I just was in another district the other evening, and we did something with conflict resolution. Not that there's conflict, but just making sure that, when you have differing opinions, how do you go about presenting that in a positive way? We talk about body language, we talk about eye contact. So if you ever want me to come in to talk about conflict resolution, just to make sure that this great work that you're doing right now just continues, I'll be happy to do that as well. Stop me at any time if you have any questions, or I'll pause at the end. So, all right, and then if you go to board superintendent relations, this is also outstanding and just really, really terrific, because without that relationship, the board can't function. The kids are not going to be served, and you have that outstanding, excellent relationship with your superintendent. So, the board maintains a really great relationship with the superintendent. The board and superintendent have open on lines of communication, and the chain of command is respected in the district, and that is so critical, because I'm sure you, as you know so well, if there's something happening in a teacher's classroom, the teacher wants to be able to solve it first, because sometimes we try to solve things, and it's not really what the teacher wants. So I think that's terrific that the chain of command is fully in a great process here, and that you have a great relationship with your superintendent. Next area is board staff relations. This is also a very strong area. Keep up the great work. It kind of goes back to that whole chain of command and making sure that the board is listening, learning, and working really well with the staff as a whole. So just fantastic work in this area. And then the very indicator number 9 is the board and the community. And this is on page 16 of 18. So indicator 9 is also a very strong area and is very highly valued by the Barnegat Board of Education. Your community is important to you. You clearly articulated that you are here for every child that walks through the doors of your schools. You're here for all children, and that's the purpose. And that was very clearly articulated in your evaluation, very clearly showed up strongly in your evaluation. So, your decisions, you mentioned that your decisions are always based upon what's best for the students, and that's the key focus. And I know you have some awards coming up tonight with some of your students, and that's terrific, because you being able to see the students and the work that they're doing and the work that you're doing for them is phenomenal. So keep that up. And you're also continuing to look for community input and interaction and making sure that your constituents and stakeholders are informed, and that really matters to the district. So that's important for your community to know that and to hear that. On the very back page, there are some areas that I want you to take a look at independently, and maybe as a board. There's great comments. As I said, on the very bottom, we can offer financial, the board's role in finance training, and of course Catherine and Brian would be a big part of that, and making sure that I'm tailoring it just for you. Conflict resolution is another big training thing that we always do with boards, just so they can continue, because having differing viewpoints is good, and understanding when you have to say, okay, the majority wants X, I wanted Y, but it's okay, I can live with it. Because we all can't always get our way, and this board clearly understands that. And then ethics training is always ongoing. If you want us to come in, we'd be happy to do that. And I already mentioned the wellness policy check, so you've been, obviously doing that, staying on top of your policies. And your strategic plan, I looked at that online, it is excellent. So overall, Mr. Sarno, board president, I have to say, you guys are doing a fantastic job, and I'm going to pause now and open it up if you have any questions. And the Vice President, Doreen, how are you? Okay. Mr. Sarno, is there any questions you might have for me? Or
Is there any questions from any members, any comments, anything you would recommend? I know she made some recommendations on some trainings that possibly now would be a time to kind of maybe, if anyone thinks any of them would fit kind of moving forward. I mean, I'm open obviously to any suggestions. I mean, if you think the finance one, especially maybe with the new board members, I know our two at the end, Bruno and Bonnie, are leaving in January 1st.
Yeah.
So we'll have 2 new board members coming on.
think
And we have some
conflict
newer ones that are, kind of relatively new.
Right.
So maybe a finance one would be a good
Okay.
starting point, to be honest.
Okay.
Scott, I'd also like to say, conflict resolution might be a really beneficial one for for us to also possibly dive into.
Yeah, that works with me.
Okay, terrific, terrific. So Brian or Scott, you could reach out to me and
Yeah, absolutely.
we can get you on the
Shoot
calendar.
you an email and we'll see what dates, you know, I don't think through the holidays, but it's kind of a little crazy, but sometime I'm sure right after that we can plan on something in January maybe.
Okay, perfect, and we'll try to find some dates. I'm covering Ocean County and Burlington County, so my calendar's getting full, but I
I'm
will
sure.
definitely make the time. We'll figure it out.
No, again, I thank you for your
Thank you.
time and coming here. And again, working on a board is not easy. And again, I think you said it very accurately. You have 9 different individuals with individual thoughts. And again, I think everyone sitting up here does exactly what they think is right and best for our students and our staff and our district and our town. And it's always kind of a path to get to where everybody is okay with, especially the major decisions we have to make. A lot of the decisions we make on a monthly basis are, things that we have to do, paying bills and things like that. But on the major things, I think it's, again, working together and trying to find that pathway to make everybody feel comfortable with the recommendations from the administration that, we're going in the right direction, we're doing the right thing, and we're making the right decisions for our students and our staff and the community as a whole. So, again, I thank you again for coming out and sharing your evaluation with us.
Thank you, Mr. Sarno, and Board of Education. Have a wonderful Thanksgiving. Keep up the great work. And again, on behalf of New Jersey School Boards, you are doing an outstanding job. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I wish we had.
Yeah. We'll just close meeting for now. And then, yeah. All right. Can I get a motion to close the meeting for now?
So moved.
Roll call?
Ms. Cherney?
Yes.
Ms. Contanza?
6.
Mr. Fedorzik?
Yes.
Ms. Jeannie?
Yes.
Mr. Iamonte?
Yes.
Ms. Levy?
Yes.
Ms. Tarnowski?
Yes.
Ms. Washburn?
Yes.
And Mr. Sarno?
Yes.
Motion carried.
First portion of the meeting is adjourned.
Trying to match the stain, yeah.
I'd like to call this a regular portion of the Barnegat Board of Education meeting to order, please.
The notice of this meeting has been forwarded to the Asbury Park Press, the Beacon, Tappan to Barnegat, and placed in the foyer of each Barnegat Township School in the Barnegat Municipal Township Building and has been filed with the Barnegat Township Municipal Clerk in conjunction with the Open Public Meetings Act, NJSA 10-4-10.
Roll call, please.
Ms. Cherney?
Here.
Ms. Contanza?
Here.
Mr. Fedorzik?
Here.
Ms. Jeannie?
Here.
Mr. Iamonte?
Here.
Ms. Levy?
Here.
Ms. Tarnowski?
Here.
Ms. Washburn?
Here.
Mr. Sarno?
Here.
We have a quorum.
Thank you. Can we please do a flag salute again, please? Right up to the flags. Pledge allegiance.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. All right, item 5 on our agenda is our audit presentation, which will be presented, our annual audit presentation, by Brian Waldron from Holman, Farina, and Allison. So I'll turn the floor over to you, Brian.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it. As Mr. Sarno had announced, my name is Brian Waldron. I am the partner with Holman, Farina, Allison. I've been working on the audit now for roughly probably 15 plus years. We had a finance committee meeting last week with some of your finance members to go over this report in detail. I'm going to give a very high-level summary of some of those highlights, talk about our opinions, and I'll be happy to answer any questions if any of the board have any questions. So we have 3 opinions that we give to our school districts. The first and most important is our independent auditor's report. Just states that the audit was conducted in accordance with the standards with the Department of Education, government auditing standards, and the generally accepted accounting principles. We have issued an unmodified opinion. That opinion is the best opinion that we can render. It just states that the financial statements are materially stated and in accordance with those standards that I mentioned before. The second of three is our independent auditors report on internal control and compliance, along with a lot of the list of information the state requires us to look at. We look at internal controls and compliance related to those requirements from the Department of Education, and we have no instances of non-compliance to report. So we, again, have an unmodified opinion on that as well. And then our third opinion is that same report on the compliance and internal controls over our state or federal major programs. Since the district receives significant funding from both federal and state sources, we have to do what we call a single audit is triggered. So we have expended greater than $750,000. This triggers this audit. During the current year on your federal side, we had looked at the child nutrition cluster, and on the state side, we had tested the state aid public, which is far and away the largest of the state funds that the district receives. Again, both an unmodified opinion and no instances of non-compliance to report on those there. So no formal recommendations or comments in your actual audit report this year. We do have a finding that we have listed in your, what we call our audit management report, which is the secondary report that gets reported. This is a repeat comment from the previous year, which is just the net cash resource related to the food service funds. We have talked about this ad nauseum in the previous year and at the Finance Committee as well. It just states that the district, according to the standards that New Jersey has put out, there's significant, too much funding of cash inside that relates to the operating budget of 3 months of what your operating budget would be. So through conversations with your business administrator and the Finance Committee, the plans we have been talking about to continue to use those funds. I know recently, I think we have POs in place for purchases of cafeteria equipment and things of that nature to use those funds. I like to say this only because many school districts amongst yourselves were faced with this challenge of having to spend a significant amount of funding that the state and the feds have provided during the COVID years when all your students were receiving free lunch versus free, paid, or reduced lunch. So there was significant amount of funding that was coming in faster, hard to believe, that then you could spend, but that was the case. So we're still sitting on more excess funding, but we have a plan in place. So again, this is I'll call it a formality finding, but it is required as we had tested the food nutrition cluster, which relates to this. So again, we do have that. It is a repeat comment that we had in the previous year, but it is the only finding that we do have in the reports. So I would label that a low-level finding, if anything, but it's a requirement to have into the finding. Overall for the district for the year, we ended the school district year from June 30th, 2024 with roughly $7.3 million of total balances. That is taking into effect your last two state aid payments, so technically it's about $9.8 million of overall fund balances within the operating budget. That's a decrease of roughly $470,000 from the previous year. That represents roughly 15% of your total operating budget year to year. So I was looking at metrics, I think I said this at the Finance Committee, we typically look for anywhere between 10 to 30% of what your fund balances are in accordance with what your budget is. Anything greater than that may be too much. You'd be sitting on too much. The public and anyone else might wonder what we're doing with these funds. Anything too less than a 10%, you might be too lean, right? So God forbid something happened, you wouldn't be able to operate. Your reserves are too low, things of that nature. So I think very comfortable with where your fund balances are in respect to other districts. So I won't really see a concern with that. We had our food service, as I talked about before. We did have a loss this year of about roughly $145,000. We'd like to look at that as a self-sustaining operating fund. So I think that we're starting to see that grow, and I know that the business administrator had mentioned at the last meeting, we had changed recently back to we were at the fixed contract, now we're moving back, I believe, to the cost reimbursed. So I believe we'll start seeing more influx of money coming in on the food service side, which is good. So therefore, we're not showing any type of loss, which is really something we try to avoid in that fund specifically. I know that there has been some conversation that we've had related to one of our restatements that we had in the footnotes this year. If there are any questions, I'd be happy to answer them, which was relating to fixed assets, an appraisal report that was provided to the district this year. So there is a restatement to the beginning balances of your what we'll call the generally accepted accounting principles financial statements, which is in the beginning of the financials. And roughly it comes to about $760,000 on the general fund, and then $140,000 on your food service fund. So I'd be happy to answer any questions related to this if there are any. I know we talked about it for about an hour and a half or so last week, but I just want to thank Kate for the work that they do in helping us get through this audit. We've been doing this since roughly August or so, so it does take a lot of time to get through. We do have final reports available to the district as they feel fit, and be happy to answer any questions if there are any.
Any questions on the board?
Can we ask specifically about the document itself?
Yeah,
Or
you
we-
can ask.
all right.
anything.
Page 8, I'm looking at the draft copy here, and I'm just
Sure.
curious. Doesn't deal with numbers, but you have the board members listed. We got 10 there. There's only 9 here, and it looks like Mr. O'Brien is listed on it.
That
Is there a
was, that
reason?
was,
What's the,
that was pointed out to Kate and Dr. Lott a few days ago.
That was
Okay.
on the draft. We've
Inaccurate.
updated
All right,
the actual, yep.
We apologize.
I said,
for
no,
that.
I said I'm looking at the draft.
Yeah, no,
just to
we
make
seen
sure.
that. When we got it that day, I pointed it out to them.
When we had the finance committee meeting, we had draft from the previous year's roster of officials. I think the letterhead also of the letter transmittal all had the outdated members as well. So we were still in draft form for that. But in the updated form that we have provided, we have all the current term dates and the current members as well. Apologize for that. I know it's one of the first places that the board members do look at, so I do apologize.
Any others? Any other questions?
Thank you.
All right.
Great. Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Thank you for the information and the audit and the findings. So again, thank you very much, and thank you to our BA and obviously our superintendent for presenting and putting together a great audit for the district. So thank
Thank
you.
you. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Yep. All right. Next item on our agenda is approval of the agenda and additions. I believe we have one correction on the agenda.
Under the only motion under HST for Aptigee, we're going to be adding just the financials, the specifics on that. So it's an annual Aptigee to be approved for an annual cost of $22,800 with a one-time setup cost of $9,000 for a total purchase cost of $31,800. The contract will commence on January 2025.
All right. So can I get a motion to approve the changes in the agenda?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call?
Ms. Cherney?
Yes.
Ms. Contanza?
yes,
Mr. Fedorzik?
Yes.
Ms. Jeannie?
Yes.
Mr. Imonti?
Yes.
Ms. Levy?
Yes.
Ms. Tarnowski?
Yes.
Ms. Washburn?
Yes.
And Mr. Sarno?
Yes.
Motion carried.
Thank you. Item 7 on our agenda is motion to approve the minutes in the previous month. Can I get a motion to approve those two, please?
So
so
moved.
moved,
Second.
Roll call?
Ms. Cherney?
Yes.
Ms. Contanza?
yes,
Mr. Fedorzik?
Yes.
Ms. Jeannie?
Yes.
Mr. Imonti?
Yes.
Ms. Levy?
Yes.
Ms. Tarnowski?
Yes.
Ms. Washburn?
Yes.
And Mr. Sarno?
Yes.
Motion carried.
Thank you very much. Item 8 on our agenda, each month, the Board of Education invites the student representative, high school student representative, to the board meetings to give a presentation on what is happening in our schools, our high school. And Mr. Hoffman always gives a very detailed, descriptive report, so I'll turn the floor over to you, Mr. Hoffman.
Well, thank you. Good evening, and thank you to everyone joining us today. For those of you who may not know me, hi. My name is Daniel Hoffman, and I'm a senior at BHS this year. And I'm excited to be here today representing the Barnegat student body as the Executive Student Government President at the high school. Our first marking period is officially over, and we could not be more proud of all the students who have put in hard work and time this semester, both inside and outside of the classroom. I know personally the Student Advisory Committee has pushed forward with many great proposals as we've introduced at our last meeting. Again, in line with issues addressed in our Middle States process, our committee identified the need for valuable and efficacious relationships within the school. This meeting, we invited Ms. McCauley, the high school's student assistant coordinator, to give us a better understanding of the student-to-staff mentorship program we already have in place. Through that, we were able to identify some difficulties of the program, such as a lack of available staff to be mentors and the ability for students to fall through the cracks and not be identified as in need of a mentor, amongst others. However, from this, the committee has concluded that founding a peer-to-peer mentorship program is the best move forward. The idea is to identify around 75 students from this year's junior class to pair up as groups of 2 and assume the mentorship of a cohort of around 25 8th graders per pair to help them transition into high school and act as friendly faces in their first year, even embedding that cohort or group into the same freshman year homeroom in order to create a collective meeting and bonding time and to create a space of understanding and communication for all parties. This addresses a number of culture and climate issues that BHS faces by not only creating smaller, tight-knit communities for students to build connections internally, but also to identify issues among students that can either be socially addressed by the student mentor group or handed off to the proper admin, as there's a consistent mentor overseeing each student. It can also advance the idea of peer-to-peer advocacy and becoming more seen and better heard in the Bengal community. It too has the capability to help involve more freshmen in all of the sports clubs and activities that Barnegat has to offer. Again, these are just the early stages of this process, but we are determined to build a more inclusive climate for all of our students one step at a time. We also brought back conversations around Courtyard 2 at the BHS and how we can purpose it to be a more effective space. If anyone has taken a walk past the secondary courtyard, you would notice a more dull and dreary brick-lined space, but as the Student Advisory Committee has begun to outline, our plan is to transform the area into a green space. We've begun preliminary discussions about what that looks like, perhaps exploring hydroponics or what a farm-to-table program could look like through the space and feeding that into the bistro here in the high school. We also discussed how that would look for our school, possibly expanding into more agricultural and horticulture-based electives or activities, giving the students and staff an active role in facilitating that process and exploring a new domain of instruction and interest, which ties right back to our newfound push towards college and career-based instruction as a result of the Middle States accreditation process. The committee also met with Ms. McBee, our school nurse, to discuss hosting a blood drive, and thankfully Ms. McBee has found a program that works to reward student donors with graduation cords and scholarships based on their contributions, but there is so much more to come on that. We are still doing our due diligence on a finals opt-out policy and what that could look like for all students at BHS, as well as identifying other student-based ideas from students for students. But as I've said before, you can expect a lot more from the Student Advisory Committee this year moving forward, that's for sure. A few more put-ups for the district. Bengal Athletics ended the fall season with great successes. Our cheer team won as division champions in medium varsity game day, so kudos to them. And our esports team also clinched yet another state title, making them back-to-back-to-back state champions, which is a huge feat. This year, we also had 4 of our Bengals make academic and athletic commitments for their futures on National Signing Day. So huge congratulations to Luke Tortorici, CJ Dringus, Riley Fitzpatrick, and Emma Thornton. Barnegat could not be more proud of you all. BHS had a great experience at Career Day last week, so huge thank yous to Mrs. Mohammed, Mrs. Cherney, Mrs. Block, Mrs. Washburn, and Mrs. Contanza for such a successful event, hopefully pushing our students into the future and direction that is right for them. BHS also hosted our annual Powerpuff game. After 3 hard-fought games, the freshman class came out on top, dethroning the juniors as reigning champs, so big congratulations to them. Just to put a few items on your radars, as far as upcoming events, BHS is once again running both the annual toy drive and Christmas and Camouflage Care Package collection, so check out the main lobby for more information on those. Also, do not forget to come out and see The Never Ending Story being put on by the Bengal Theater Company December 5th through the 7th at 7 p.m. and December 8th at 2 p.m. As always, a huge congratulations to our upstanders, but at least for now, that's all from me. Thank you for your time tonight, and with that, I yield back.
All right, thank you very much, Mr. Hoffman. Again, very detailed. I feel like my head's overwhelmed with the report you give, but again, I love it. So next on our agenda is our committee discussions. Each month, the chairperson of each committee will give a report out on what is happening in their committee. I will start off with finance. Our chairperson is Mrs. Tarnowski. She was unable to attend the meeting, so Mrs. Contanza took over, and she will give the report.
Thank you, Mr. Sarno. The Finance Committee met on November 20th. There was an audit presentation and discussion by the auditors regarding the year-end summary and financial position of the district. The committee also discussed the 2025-2026 budget calendar And there was also a discussion of the Transportation DRTRS State Report. On tonight's agenda, there is for approval the monthly motions, payroll, bills list, transfer of funds, board secretary report, treasurer report, and transportation contracts. There is also a motion on the agenda to accept donations from a few of our Barnegat people.
Residents?
One is Shore Awakenings, it's an LLC. Another is PBA Locals 373 LBT Civic Association, Walters Management Company, Lefty's Tavern, and the Drill Sergeant Cleaning Service LLC. The school district and the Board of Education would like to extend our deepest gratitude for the generous donations. And our next committee meeting is scheduled for December 11th at 10 a.m. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Contanza. Next is our Buildings, Grounds, Transportation Committee, which is chaired by Mrs. Washburn.
Thank you. The Buildings, Grounds, Transportation, and Food Service Committee met on November 18th at 10 a.m. For the food service portion, we discussed Benny's Bagel Bites, which is now operational, potential of holiday menus at the schools, which I believe are in place already, and allergy tracking in Genesis. For facilities, staffing transitions were discussed, along with preventative maintenance updates expected by January. Spring field prep and winter sports procedures are underway as well. In transportation, we discussed the continuance of driver recruitment and some staffing challenges, bus repairs, and new routing software that will be implemented soon. That's all we've got.
That's it. All right. Thank you, Ms. Washburn. Next is Education Committee. Chairperson is Mrs. Cherney.
Thank you, Mr. President. Good evening, everyone. The Education Committee met on November 19th. You'll see on tonight's agenda a motion to approve frontline IEP training for the district for our staff members. We have a motion to approve the district's work-based learning and community-based instruction locations. We also have our regular college, university placements, continuing education requests, field trips, and out-of-district workshops. We did have a meaningful discussion regarding the success of our first career day, which took place on November 18th at Barnegat High School. Daniel Hoffman mentioned it earlier. We would like to also express our sincere gratitude to Ms. Muhammad, board members Doreen Contanenza, Lauren Washburn, Susie Block, who's a parent in the district, and Mrs. Outright. This event was a fantastic collaboration among community members, teachers, board members, and staff leaders for the purpose of creating a memorable experience that profoundly impacts our students. I was honored to be a part of such an event. Looking ahead, we are excited about the prospect of organizing an even larger and more impactful career day in the future. We are eager to encourage greater student involvement and participation in the future for this event. A discussion also was had about Summer School 2025, when more information will be coming. That will be placed on our school's website. Bear with me, we have a lot of good news and updates to go over. So, the Ocean County Health Department will set up their mobile flu clinic at Dunphy School's Polar Express from 5:30 to 7:30 on Thursday, December 19th. Ocean County Vocational Technical School is planning to come present to our 10th graders in December to discuss their programming options and application procedures. Mr. Gary Brown of Patriot Financial has volunteered to speak with the gifted and talented classes about the stock market and investing. Our Move Over program is coming to Barnegat High School on December 16th and 17th to present to the entire student body, not just driver's theory. It's an explanation of a new law requiring traffic to slow down for vehicles that break down on highways for the vehicle and the first responders that come to the scene. We also have presenting at Texpo 2025, our very own Jim Barbieri will be representing Barnegat along with Dr. John Kerrigan of Middletown, and will deliver a session with iReady about how to use data to create personalized learning opportunities for students. And Rutgers University Climate Change Grant, this was already approved.
but there's a change to the grant. Consent forms will go out to parents, and this is an opt-in type of event. We also have our fall data harvest, as you can see in the back. And we also discuss the FAFSA application, which is a free application for federal student aid documents that are required for graduation. An email was sent to families to let them know that help session will be held on February 5th at the Barnegat High School, and our next meeting will be held December 10th.
Okay, thank you very much, Ms. Cherney. Next up is Health Safety Technology Committee, and chairperson is Mr. Iamonte.
Thank you. Good evening. The Health Safety and Technology Committee held its meeting on November 21st. At the meeting, under the health section, the CPR training for the cardiac emergency response team is completed district-wise. The board administrator advised the committee that Genesis and Mosaic have been updated to include food allergies that are visible to both nurses and food service employees. Under security, the security coordinator attended a county security meeting where he was advised on an amended drilled law that pertains to students with unique needs. He met with the Student Service Department to discuss and gather information to ensure that students with unique needs receive accommodation, modification, and documented plans will be maintained in their student records. Also, the District Safety Committee will meet on December 19. On the technology, Dr. Lotwitz and board administrator met with building administrators to get feedback regarding Gaggle. Gaggle is a student safety management software. At this time, it's not implemented, but once it's completed, the implementation is completed, the staff will receive training in this program. The new ViewSonic boards for Collins schools have been mounted and set up by the technology department. Several more had to be ordered to complete the task. Also, the administrator, the business administrator, advised us that a inspection of the Chromebooks at Brackman School was completed, and the reason for that was to assess the condition of the devices. The board administrator will send letters out to parents regarding the outstanding Chromebook fines. Fines not paid by the end of December, those students will no longer be able to take their Chromebooks home, and that's beginning January. Next, still under technology, the Director of Student Service introduced Aptigee. Aptigee is a communication platform designed for school districts to streamline connections with families, students, staff, and community. It integrates website, social media, emails, text, alert, app notification, and two-way messaging into one system, ensuring consistent and effective communication. This will replace our website and notification system, Final Site and Blackboard. It also adds a teacher app for two-way parent communication and the ability to update all social media from one place. The two-way messaging features allows the district interaction with families, enhancing engagement and responsiveness. The user-friendly dashboard makes it easy to manage updates, events, and announcements, saving time and reducing errors. Multilingual capabilities ensures all families can access important information. Mobile app accessibility provides real-time update for convenience, while emergency notification tools deliver prompt alerts during critical situations like lockdowns, for example, shelter in place, and so on. With Aptigee, you receive a customized mobile app and website branded for our district. The app provides easy access to news, grades, schedules, and updates on school closures, while it integrates website servers as a hub for calendars, staff direction, if I can speak, directories, and other resources. The two-way messages features in Aptigy's room allows district communication between teachers, parents, and students, syncing in with Genesis and Google Classroom. The teachers can send updates on student progress, and parents can respond with all messages archived for future reference. Parents can also digitally sign forms, and the app automatically translates into the language set on their device, making it accessible to all families. I know I sound like I work for the company. I don't, but it was so important that I couldn't reduce, because I feel it's extremely important for this. It gives the district it really accessible to all parents, and especially I was really impressed with the where it translates it to the language that you have your app set at. Everyone has a cell phone nowadays, whether they speak English or not. But my thing is, what's important to me is that it translates it to the language that you have your app set at, which is very important in the sense that if you have a family that only speaks, let's say, a foreign language, German, doesn't matter, Spanish, whatever, and a child is in school, they really don't get the information that they need or what's going on in that school. This thing translates into the language, which to me is very, very important. Thank you. That's all.
Thank you again, Mr. Almonte, for your work. Lastly is Personnel Committee, and I am the chairperson of that committee. We met on November 18th. Some of the items we went over, again, is all personnel matters, from some resignations, retirements we discussed, many new hires from paraprofessionals, pre-K teacher, special ed teachers, and some secretaries, supervisory assistants, down through substitutes. Again, I know we're always searching for substitutes, and volunteers, and some coaches, changing of coaches, hiring of new coaches. And lastly, just seeing if there's any other thing I missed. That was about it. Personnel leaves. Yep, that's about it. Again, just a matter of personnel discussions. So that is that. All right, next item on our agenda is superintendent's highlights, information, and comments. I will turn the floor over to Dr. Lawless.
Thank you very much. We will kick off with the upstanders. So I would like to invite Mr. Gunderson up to the mic.
Not that true. I read all that. Water.
All right, good evening, everyone. The Upstanders program is a wonderful opportunity to recognize and celebrate students district-wide who demonstrate a specific Bengal pride trait. These traits continue to enhance the positive climate of our schools, and our community partners play an essential role in our students' success. This month, our students exemplified nurturing for the N in Bengal Pride. We're very excited to present students with a gift card from one of our local restaurants, Joy Boy's All-Star Bagel. When you hear your name, please come forward to join Board President Mr. Sarno and Superintendent Dr. Latwis to receive your plaque and gift certificate. Lexi Louderback. Lexi is an exceptional student who exhibits many wonderful traits. She's friendly, funny, inquisitive, and above all, kind and nurturing. She demonstrated her nurturing nature in the counseling department when she supported a fellow student who was experiencing an emotional moment while waiting to meet the counselor. Lexi was emotionally supportive while being mindful of the student's boundaries in such a heartfelt way. She is a true upstander in Barnegat High School. Congratulations, Lexi. Christian Naya. Christian is an exceptionally nurturing individual who earned nominations from several staff members for his remarkable qualities. He consistently demonstrates kindness, empathy, and a willingness to help others. Christian is known for his thoughtfulness and is always the first to lend a hand to his classmates in need. His genuine care for staff and peers fosters a positive and inclusive environment for all. Christian's nurturing spirit has had a profound impact on the school community, making him a deserving nominee for this award. Congratulations, Christian. Avery Devia. Avery is an incredibly hardworking and dedicated student who goes above and beyond for her schoolwork, friends, and teachers. Whether volunteering to take on a task in her class or helping a classmate with a difficult problem, Avery is there to step in and lend a hand. She's quick to check on her friends who seem upset, and she always includes anyone who might feel left out in any activity, whether in the classroom or during a game at recess. Avery demonstrates leadership skills, great character, and is always caring, respectful, and responsible. We're very proud of all she has achieved this year. Congratulations, Avery. Maeve Boatingheimer. Maeve is an exceptionally kind and caring student who goes out of her way to support not only her close friends, but anyone around her. She's always ready to lend a helping hand, even to those she doesn't know well. Maeve's remarkable kindness makes her a joy to be around, and it's clear that everyone admires her and is drawn to her for her insight, laughter, and positivity. She is truly one of a kind. Congratulations, Maeve. Hayden Woodson. Hayden is an extremely thoughtful and caring student. She is always the first person to offer help when a classmate needs assistance and goes out of her way to help friends who may be upset or hurt. Hayden has a talent for helping others with their classwork in a way that fosters understanding rather than simply providing answers. Additionally, her interactions with the ACES buddies are truly commendable. Hayden ensures the buddy students feel included and enjoy their time on the playground. Congratulations, Hayden. Brinley O'Connell. Brinley is always quick to assist her friends, helping them to remember to move their name tags during centers and gathering everyone's name tags at the end of choice time to put them back in their proper place. She is attentive and compassionate, always the first to notice if a friend is upset or if two are not getting along, and she makes sure to inform her teacher. Brinley's thoughtfulness and willingness to help foster a positive and supportive classroom environment for everyone. Congratulations, Brinley. Jacob Pizarra. Oh. Jacob. Good job, buddy. He knows where he's going. All right. Jacob is always looking out for his friends, and he consistently advocates for their preferences. He is thoughtful and patient, always waiting for others when transitioning to various activities throughout the school day. If anyone is having a difficult time, Jacob is quick to offer help and ask them what they need. Jacob's kindness and consideration make him a valuable and supportive friend to everyone around him. Congratulations, Jacob. And congratulations to all the students one more time, and thank you so much to all the parents. Great job.
I want us to be as pretty.
was phenomenal.
First one was
I thought he was gonna sing. But when he grabbed the mic, I was like, oh boy.
All right, before we transition into the data harvest, I'm just going to highlight a few things around the district. So first and foremost, thank you to Kate and the rest of the business office for a successful audit. Obviously, Kate joined us mid-year last year, so it's always difficult to come in mid-year and to continue working on something like that when somebody else started it. You guys did an exceptional job, so thank you for all your hard work with that. Big thank you to the Friendly Sons of Shillelagh and the Patriot Financial Group for their generous donations to support our families in need. Their donations will provide 8 families with not only a Thanksgiving meal, but also enough supplies for breakfast, lunch, and dinner throughout the entire extended holiday weekend. And a special thank you to our incredible transportation department for collecting food and monetary donations, shopping for groceries, organizing the baskets, and delivering them to the families. So big shout out to all of them. Thank you. Few areas to highlight. The Horbelt Leaders in Training collected over 1,000 cans and non-perishable items for the Barnegat Food Pantry, so that was an awesome job by them. The shout out to the NJ ROTC cadets who proudly represented Barnegat High School by participating in both the Barnegat Township Veterans Day ceremony at the town gazebo and the American Legion Post 232 ceremony. Thank you to the ROTC for honoring those who had served. Students in the BHS work-based learning program showcased their very creative talents by painting festive holiday scenes on the windows of Dunkin' Donuts. So if you were at Dunkin' Donuts and you saw some of those murals on the windows, you'll know where they came from. So awesome job to them. Big congratulations to Cole Toddings on being named the 2024 C South Division Defensive Player of the Year. So very exciting for Cole and the Toddings family. So congratulations to them. And at this point, we're going to transition into the data harvest, for the next 15 minutes, son? About 15 minutes, 15, 20 minutes. This is an opportunity to go to different, each of the different schools are represented back there. This is an opportunity to go around and see a lot of the hard work that the leadership team and the staff have been doing. You'll get an idea of where we are starting, where the roadblocks and challenges are, but also where a lot of the exceptional things that are happening. So some things just to highlight and point out on your way back there. If you stop by the middle school table, you'll see that ELA, 7th grade ELA already has 18% of the students that are above grade level. So that's pretty exciting starting point there. You'll see if you go by pre-K that 98% of 4-year-olds recognize their first name and 71% of them can actually write it. So that's a huge accomplishment for those young folks. Geometry has started higher, started higher for the 4th straight year. You'll see that ELA 1, which has been a focal point, 23-24. On the first assessment, we started with 30% proficiency. This year, we're starting at 47% proficiency, so it'll be super exciting to see where those kids go this year. And last, just to name one of the highlights, you'll see in grade 4 ELA, this is something that you want to ask when you go back there. It's called the beginning of the year look. So through iReady, we're able to identify the student's proficiency on coming into the grade, which basically shows what percentage of students mastered all the content from the year before. So an area to highlight, if you look at grade 4 ELA, you'll see that 70% of the students coming into that are already proficient with everything that they were supposed to learn with no academic gaps coming in. So that's super exciting. That's exactly the direction we were hoping to get to. And if you start looking at some of the beginning of the year areas, you'll start to see that across the board. We're starting a lot higher than we have typically been in the past, which just goes to show you the hard work from the previous years leading up to that to have those students start without having any kind of academic gaps coming into the year. So super exciting stuff. I would absolutely recommend you guys going there and stopping at each of the tables and asking some of those various questions. So with that being said, I will.
All right. Thank you. We'll, I guess, recess for 15 or so minutes.
All right, thank you very much to the instructional coaches, administration for presenting the first cycle of our data harvest. I hope that you guys found it productive. I know a lot of hard work goes into this, so I really do appreciate it. Thank you guys very much for putting on another successful data harvest. With that being said, I will turn it back over to you, President Sarno.
Thank you. I will wait until we're all ready.
I just want to say preschool won the candy battle.
That's candy.
Yes, they did. I like the
I
light.
get the highest marks.
I agree, concur completely. I had the better candy.
All right, so we'll pick back up where we were. Thank you again for the, well, I'll go over that in my report anyway, but thank you for the data harvest presentation. Just a few things under my president's remarks. I want to start off by saying, I know a few others had addressed it, the Career Day. Again, I want to thank all the individuals that took the time out. I know it was a few months work into this that each of you put into it, between Doreen, Sandra, Lauren, several of our staff members that I believe are here. Put a lot of time and effort into it. I know a lot of people in the community helped out with coming there to volunteer. A lot of, I've been guessing there was probably, what, maybe 40 businesses, 40 different vendors there that were presenting, and for our children, our students. I was there, the students were engaged, the students were asking questions, the students were, I mean, again, well behaved as you could ever ask, and they were there, actually, they seemed extremely interested in a lot of the different vendors that were there. So, and they were all over the spectrum, from military, from your trades to nursing, cosmetology, the transit, corrections, on down the line. So again, you did an awesome job putting it together, and Mr. Barbieri was involved in that also. So again, want to thank you and point out that we appreciate it and look forward to bigger and better moving forward. Yeah. So keep up the great work with that. Next was, again, want to thank everyone, all the administrators and staff back there for the data harvest presentation. I got to a few of you. Awesome job with what we're seeing, with the results. Again, things going in the right direction. And so again, couldn't be happier than what you guys are presenting. The audit, as it was presented tonight, again, want to thank our BA, Ms. Van Tassel, and Dr. Latwis and their staff, again, for putting together not putting together, but keeping our district in a great financial foothold, moving in the right direction financially, and as the auditor said, being on strong financial ground. So again, greatly appreciate that, especially in these tough times around our state. We know not every district can say that, and again, want to thank both of you and point it out. It's greatly appreciated. And lastly, on my end, just again, want to wish everyone a happy holiday. Enjoy your time with your family, with your loved ones, friends, neighbors, whoever you celebrate with. Be safe and just have a great time. So that is the end of my president's remarks. Next up on the agenda is public session.
Sorry, that's a page.
No.
Barnegat Township. The Barnegat Township Board of Education appreciates and welcomes public comment, advice, and suggestions, especially when it is intended to assist the Board of Education. Please feel free to speak to the board during public session. Comments and discussion will be limited to 1 5-minute period per individual unless requested by the chairperson to continue on a point of clarification. Public comment at special meetings of the board shall be related to the call of the meeting. In accordance with the Board of Education policy, each participant must be recognized by the presiding officer and must preface their comments by an announcement of their name, address, and group affiliation if appropriate. Your anticipated courtesy to the members of the public and the board is appreciated.
Could I get a motion to open public session, please?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call.
Ms. Cherney?
Yes.
Ms. Contananza?
Yes.
Mr. Fedorzik?
Yes.
Ms. Jeannie?
Yes.
Mr. Iamonte?
Yes.
Ms. Levy?
Yes.
Ms. Tarnowski?
Yes.
Ms. Washburn?
Yes.
And Mr. Sarno?
Yes.
Motion carried.
Thank you. With that, is there anybody in the public? I only see one person sitting there, but is there anybody who would like to speak? Okay. Seeing none, can I get a motion to close public session, please?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call.
Ms. Cherney?
Yes.
Ms. Contananza?
Yes.
Mr. Fedorzik?
Yes.
Ms. Jeannie?
Yes.
Mr. Iamonte?
Yes.
Ms. Levy?
Yes.
Ms. Tarnowski?
Yes.
Ms. Washburn?
Yes.
Mr. Sarno?
Yes.
Motion carried.
Thank you very much. All right, next item on our agenda is item 13, Finance Committee motions.
I I'd like to make a motion to table number 11, the annual audit.
Okay,
Second?
and second on that. So a motion to table the number item 11, the annual audit for further discussion. Can I get a motion, can I get a roll call on that, please, on that motion?
Ms. Cherney?
Yes.
Ms. Contanza?
Yes.
Mr. Fedorzik?
Yes.
Ms. Jeannie?
Yes.
Mr. Imonti?
Yes.
Ms. Levy?
I don't know. Yes, yes. I don't know why.
Ms. Tarnowski?
Yes.
Ms. Washburn?
Yes.
Mr. Sarno?
Yes.
Motion carried.
Thank you. All right, so with that, can I get a motion to approve item number 1 through 11?
1 through 10?
1 through,
No.
1 through 11, there was 12.
1 through 10 and 12, right?
And
Yeah,
12.
1 through 10 and 12, sorry.
So
Items
moved.
1 through 10 and number 12, not number 11. Sorry.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call?
Ms. Cherney?
Yes.
Ms. Contanza?
Yes.
Mr. Fedorzik?
Yes.
Ms. Jeannie?
Yes.
Mr. Imonti?
Yes.
Ms. Levy?
Yes.
Ms. Tarnowski?
Yes.
Ms. Washburn?
Yes.
Mr. Sarno?
Yes.
Okay, motion carried.
Thank you. Item 14 on our agenda is Education Committee motions. We have motions 1 through 6. Can I get a motion to approve those 6, please?
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Roll call?
Ms. Cherney?
Yes.
Ms. Contanza?
Yes.
Mr. Fedorzik?
Yes.
Ms. Jeannie?
Yes.
Mr. Imonti?
Yes.
Ms. Levy?
Yes.
Ms. Tarnowski?
Yes.
Ms. Washburn?
Yes.
Mr. Sarno?
Yes.
Motion carried.
Thank you. Item 15 on our agenda is Education Committee information for the public, nothing to vote on. Item 16 on our agenda is Health Safety Technology motion, just motion number 1. Motion to approve that, please?
Motion approved.
Say that.
Motion to approve number 1? 1.
So moved.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
All right, thank you. Roll call?
Ms. Cherney?
Yes.
Ms. Contanza?
Yes.
Mr. Fedorzik?
Yes.
Ms. Jeannie?
Yes.
Mr. Imonti?
Yes.
Ms. Levy?
Yes.
Ms. Tarnowski?
Yes.
Ms. Washburn?
Yes.
Mr. Sarno?
Yes.
Motion carried.
You, personnel, item 17 on our agenda is Personnel Committee motions. Motions 1 through 27. Can I get a motion to approve those 27, please?
So moved.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call?
Ms. Cherney?
Yes.
Ms. Contanza?
Yes.
Mr. Fedorzik?
Yes.
Ms. Jeannie?
Yes.
Mr. Imonti?
Yes.
Ms. Levy?
Yes.
Ms. Tarnowski?
Yes.
Ms. Washburn?
Yes.
And Mr. Sarno?
Yes.
Motion carried.
Thank you. Item 18 on our agenda is Personnel Committee information. Again, just information for the public to review and to vote on. And item 19 on our agenda is executive session resolution. Can I get a motion to go into executive to discuss the HIB report, personnel matters, and student matters?
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Roll call?
Ms. Cherney?
Yes.
Ms. Contanza?
Yes.
Mr. Fedorzik?
Yes.
Ms. Jeannie?
Yes.
Mr. Imonti?
Yes.
Ms. Levy?
Yes.
Ms. Tarnowski?
Yes.
Ms. Washburn?
Yes.
Mr. Sarno?
Yes.
Motion carried.
We will be back out.
Doreen, I sent you an invite for Google Meet for executive. You got it?
Okay.
All right.
Thank you.
We'll see you. We'll be back out for Thanksgiving. I hope. I'd like to call this Barnegat Board of Education meeting back to order, please. Roll call.
Ms. Cherney?
Here.
Ms. Contanza?
Here.
Mr. Fedorzik?
Here.
Ms. Jeannie?
Here.
Mr. Imonti?
Here.
Ms. Levy?
Here.
Ms. Tarnowski?
Here.
Ms. Washburn?
Here.
Mr. Sarno?
Here.
Okay.
Thank you. Under new business, motion number 1, a motion to approve the HIB report as presented by superintendent in executive session.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Roll call.
Ms. Cherney?
Yes.
Ms. Contanza?
Yes.
Mr. Fedorzik?
Yes.
Ms. Jeannie?
Yes.
Mr. Imonti?
Yes.
Ms. Levy?
Yes.
Ms. Tarnowski?
Yes.
Ms. Washburn?
Yes.
And Mr. Sarno?
Yes.
Motion carried.
And item number 2 under new business is the carryover from finance. Number 11, the annual audit report year from 23 to 24. Can I get a motion to approve that, please?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call?
Ms. Cherney?
Yes.
Ms. Contanza?
Yes.
Mr. Fedorzik?
Yes.
Ms. Genie?
Yes.
Mr. Imonti?
Yes.
Ms. Levy?
Yes.
Ms. Tarnowski?
Yes.
Ms. Washburn?
Yes.
And Mr. Sarno?
Yes.
Motion carried.
Thank you. Can I get a motion to adjourn, please?
So
moved.
Second.
Roll call?
Ms. Cherney?
Yes.
Ms. Contanza?
Yes.
Mr. Fedorzik?
Yes.
Ms. Genie?
Yes.
Mr. Imonti?
Yes.
Ms. Levy?
Yes.
Ms. Tarnowski?
Yes.
Ms. Washburn?
Yes.
And Mr. Sarno?
Yes. Meeting adjourned.